moves before starting your MBA. My name is Wendy Dukes, and I am the Director of MBA programs at Forté. And hopefully, you are here because you are beginning your MBA program now or later in the year, and you are desperately wanting to know what are the 3 things you need to do before starting your MBA. Before we jump in, I'd like to also introduce you to a couple of participants that are joining us. So, Toni.
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Toni Phelan. I am an MBA program manager with Forté, and it's great to be here. Happy to answer any questions at the end. And yeah, it's great to see you all.
And Hannah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah Tolan. I'm a 2-year MBA residential at Cornell Johnson in Ithaca. I'm also happy to share that I am the Edie Hunt Inspiration Award winner this year through Forté, and I'm very excited to be here today.
I appreciate you joining us, Hannah. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the 3 key points that we want to cover today. Reasons that you must do these things before you start your MBA. You need to protect your time, so you need to consider building a time management strategy. You also need to research your career interests. I mean, don't start your MBA unless you kind of know what you want to do. And then number 3, build your connections. You want to start building those connections and networking before you step foot at stage or at school, I mean. So why do you even care about this? Well, you are going to be spending quite some coins on your MBA program, so you need to maximize the value of your investment. And doing these things before you start is going to make you a little bit more confident, reduce your stress so that you can start your program feeling a little bit more at ease. Another thing to think about is that you need to mentally prepare yourself for this and gain some more clarity on your career goals by investigating all the different things that you might want to do once you graduate from business school. Now, doing all of these things before you start school is going to help you avoid falling behind in class and avoid falling behind in your career search. It's going to get you ready for that intense schedule and all that group work that you have to do. So when you walk away from all this preparation, you'll be able to prioritize tasks, manage your assignments, and build and nurture your relationships, because you want to be proactive in making all of these valuable connections in the future, right? All right, so with that, let's start with number 1, protecting your time and building a time management strategy. Now, look, when you begin your MBA program, times are going to be crazy. You're going to have classes, you're going to have group projects, you're going to have networking with companies, you may have to do some additional research outside of class. There's just so many things that you have to do. And you're going to have to keep in touch with your family. People are going to be asking how you're doing. So it's definitely important to have a time management strategy so that you can manage all of the different things that are coming at you from all these different directions. So Toni, do you want to talk about the things that Forté offers to help with this?
I sure can. So the MBA Takeoff program is a virtual program that's designed to help incoming MBA women and allies feel confident, prepared, connected before they even start business school. So some of those things that Wendy was just speaking about, we touch on in this 6-session program. And so in this program, you're going to strengthen leadership skills, build relationships, meet people from across the world, peers that are also starting their MBA programs. And then you'll also gain strategies to navigate all of those, challenges, learning opportunities ahead. And this takes place in a supportive, kind of women-focused environment. We talk about everything with a gender lens. And so it's not a replacement for orientation, but it's more of a personal and professional kind of jump start for you. It complements your school's programming by helping you develop all of these kind of leadership, communication skills, that kind of thing. And so you can hit the ground running once you're on campus. And then again, you'll join that global community of women and allies who are also starting this journey across, 50 plus different MBA programs across the country. And so you'll get to start building that network early. So the QR code is on the screen if you want to scan to join it. We are starting this Thursday, but registration is open beyond that. If you decide to join us a little late, that's totally fine as well. We do record the content portion of each session if there's a conflict ever with your work schedule or anything like that. So yeah, and this is just a sample of the curriculum on the screen as well. So if you have any questions at all, you can email us or ask at the end.
So one thing I want to also mention is that researching your career interests before you start your MBA program is one of the most important things that I could recommend to you as an MBA. It will kind of help you get an idea of what clubs you want to join, what different companies you might want to go after, and the people that you want to network with. And then it also helps you really get going for that internship preparation, because of course, that's the first thing that folks are looking at once they start their MBA program. The thing to remember is that doing all of this ahead of time, and this is what we're saying, you must do this before you start your MBA. Don't attend your program and think, I'll just figure it out when I get there, because you do want to make sure that you're making the most out of your 2-year journey and that you have some sort of idea what it is you want to do when you graduate. And I want to bring Hannah into this conversation because I would love to hear from your perspective, not only from MBA Takeoff, but also Financial Services Fast Track, which is a program that we have. If you're interested in finance, maybe you're not, but come to it so that you can learn more. You attended this, right?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Wendy and Toni. I actually attended Takeoff, Fast Track, and the Leadership Conference before coming to my MBA program here at Cornell, and I thought they were all amazing experiences. I will give it to Fast Track in particular. It was my favorite event, mainly because I found that it was so helpful to put myself in the mindset of recruiting and career discovery. And I actually did an Ask Me Anything last year as the Forté ambassador for my campus, where I really promoted the Fast Track conference for all female MBA students, whether you're looking at investment banking, corporate finance, consulting. I know a lot of women, and actually a lot of men, but we're not here for them, that are always on the fence, like, should I do consulting? Should I do banking? Those are usually the traditional tracks at like a lot of these top schools, and you can't really decide. So having this experience early on in the spring before you go to your MBA program can give you the jump start that you need to really figure out what you want. And even if it's not just finance, investment banking specifically, or consulting, just having that, you guys did a session with Training the Street, I believe. So just like, if you don't have a financial background, like I didn't take any econ classes or finance classes when I went to undergrad. I went to a small liberal arts college where I learned to think, which was amazing, but didn't help me for business school. That really helped me learn some of the financial concepts that I needed. That was really great. And also, I know that like not everyone has the capability to make it to wherever the leadership conference is because they change cities every year. My year, it was in Dallas. Last year, it was in Chicago. Kind of jealous, but I do love tacos in Dallas. But the fact that Fast Track is in New York City, it's a little more attainable to get to a lot of the times. So I cannot recommend this more for literally anyone getting their MBA.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because you did attend financial services. And then on our next slide, we also have the Women's Leadership Conference, which is a larger conference. It's taking place this year in Denver. It's in June. And honestly, there are entering MBA students that attend both of our conferences because they just want to leverage the network that they'll be able to connect with through both opportunities. Now, to Hannah's point, at the Women's Leadership Conference, it is in Denver this year. If anyone has not been to Denver, I think this is a great opportunity to come to the state of Colorado, come enjoy the Red Rocks Theater. There's some great shows taking place. The outdoors aspect of Denver is phenomenal, but at the same time, you're coming for a conference and you're leveraging this opportunity before you start your MBA to not only meet with companies, but you're also meeting with other students that are going into MBA programs, and there's a career fair. So you see that picture? That's from last year, and that's just a quarter or maybe half of the room that was there, but it's something that you really can't pass up. At least I would say. Hannah?
Yeah, I'd love to add to that. So I think creating one thing that's really important to me was building my network and making friends more organically, less in a transactional MBA way where like, yo, you do this half of the project, I'll do this half of the project, we'll meet in the middle. No, this is like a really great time to meet your classmates, meet other women across MBA programs like yours to really build connections and create a sense of camaraderie. I know a lot of women that met some of their best friends at the leadership conference. Just to go a little bit back, so I know that not all schools are like Cornell, where we have, I think, like over 50 women attend the leadership conference. We're really lucky that they really promote and send all of us. But I know there's a lot of Forté partner schools that don't have as large of a presence in Forté community. So getting involved in Takeoff by like I still text my WhatsApp chat for the Forté. We call ourselves the Forté Warriors that year. So like the fact that I can call upon that network, I think we are going to talk about it later, but like one of my best friends from MBA is actually not at Johnson. She's at Darden, and I met her at Fast Track, and we roomed together at Leadership Conference. So I have nothing but good things to say about what these conferences and these programs do. I think, though, something to consider is like what specifically they're offering and like what it can do for you and in your position.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the networking aspect of it. And so the third point that we need to talk about, what you must consider before you start your MBA, is building connections. Network, network, network. Don't be the student, first year student, that has 15 connections on LinkedIn. You don't want to be that person. Okay. But participating in these different programs and conferences, you are going to build your network before you start your MBA. Now, there's a picture here, and I kind of want Hannah to talk more about this picture because it just speaks about how to establish your network before you start your MBA and how you lean on this network in the future. So tell me a little bit about that, Hannah.
Yeah, so this picture was actually taken at the 2023 Forte Leadership Conference, I believe, in Dallas. It's as you can see, that's me in my Johnson shirt, and that's actually one of my best friends from MBA. Her name is Katie Nunner. She's from Darden. As I mentioned, I met her at Fast Track. We roomed together at the leadership conference, and having that support system of a friend that's not in your same school, not necessarily going through the same things you are, specifically at your school, but definitely the same types of things like recruiting and learning how to manage your time, learning to deal with interpersonal relationships like that feel kind of high schooly sometimes, but you're all adults because you're like all on this campus in this program, and nothing bad to say about that. But like, and like Katie and I text often. We're actually having a debrief of our spring breaks in a couple of weeks, and she actually like we met for dinner over the summer to like talk about our internships, to like a really great sounding board to have like a friend like that. And networking is super important. I feel like a lot of people think about it like, how many connections do I have on LinkedIn? And not to brag, like I have over 4,000. I'm trying to purge them actually. I have too many. But networking is about just being present and talking to someone, learning about other people and their experiences that you can then lean upon to either be something that's like a support network for you if they're friends with you, but also just I've learned so much from the women at Forte and at my program from their life experiences that I never would have like learned about otherwise. And that's actually informed on some of my assignments and some of the work that I've done and what I'm passionate about. So it's been a really great experience. I think just being open to new friends. You're already I'm assuming a lot of you here on this call and whoever listens to this are career pivoters. Pivoting careers is not for the faint of heart. It is hard work. You got into your MBA program. Congratulations. That is a feat of itself. But now is time for that next step. And the more support system and the connections you have, the better off you're going to be. So I highly recommend keeping this in mind because it'll make all of those other things that the other two things you're supposed to do, like career discovery and like time management, it's going to be easier with your support network and people around you. And as a woman who has to come to MBA and like completely switch over from working your job to I mean, I recruited investment banking my first year. I was on campus from like 8:30 a.m. to 10, 11 p.m. Like it's a big shift. And I'm not getting paid for it. I'm paying to do that. So I think having a support network and building those connections really helps. And I would be remiss to not say going to the Forte Leadership Conference and Fast Track also gives you the opportunity to network with current professionals in those spaces. It gives you the chance actually to potentially interview. That is not as common, but that career discovery aspect is so important. And I will say, as a second year, I witnessed and noticed the first years that had gone to these conferences that did programs like Takeoff, when they when they did those things, they put themselves in that MBA mindset early on in the spring, and they were more polished and more organized and more prepared for the recruiting cycle and the rigor of your classes right from the jump in August to September, depending, maybe I think some programs start in July. Wishing all of you luck. It really put them ahead of the game, which actually translated into more opportunities recruiting wise, which is personally why I think most of us are all here for business school.
Exactly. So let's do this. Let's summarize all of the different programs and talk about the opportunities. So Toni, walk us through all three of these opportunities that we have.
Yes, I can do that. So MBA Takeoff is that virtual program that we spoke a little bit about already. It runs April through May. There are 6 content sessions. The intro session starts this week, and we're still accepting registrations. If you do attend a Forte MBA partner school, there is a $100 discount, and then some schools are also offering additional discounts. So if you decide to register, make sure you check with your MBA school prior to registering for any discount codes. And so that's the one where it's 2 times per week, and there's discussion sessions, there's content, there's access to a Franklin Covey workbook and all the things. And so that's that one, virtual. And then the MBA Financial Services Fast Track Conference that happens in May, that is for anybody who has any interest in learning more about a career in finance or just finance in general. Takes place in New York. That has a $50 deposit, but that is refundable. So that conference, there is no registration fee. And then the MBA Women's Leadership Conference taking place in June, that will be in Denver, Colorado. You can see the pricing on the screen and the QR code to sign up. That is the larger conference that has that large career expo. It has tons of inspiring women speakers and business leaders, and lots of information about different career tracks if you're looking to pivot or just learn more about different careers that you can get with your MBA. Hopefully I covered everything. Any questions from the group? If you do have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the Q&A. We'll check the chat as well, but
I do see one question that has come through, and it's specifically for MBA Financial Services Fast Track. The question is asking, does it include alternative investments or is it strictly investment banking? I don't know, if Hannah, if you want to talk about that, but
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the specific programming about alternative investing. I will say it is not strictly investment banking. As someone who was deciding between doing investment banking and consulting, I was coming at it from it at a lens to like just hear other women who've been in my position in the last 8 to 10 years. I mean, Forté does a great job of getting a diverse range of speakers to come. And I think that's what's also interesting. Like, there's also a lot of networking events at both Fast Track and the MBA Leadership Conference for you to meet and learn from others. But to go back to your question, I'm not positive if it will include alternative investing specifically, but it is not targeted just to IB. And I recommend even if you like, everyone has to take accounting and finance in MBA, I believe, in their curriculum. You might call it something different, but I think just having that primer of like putting yourself in that mindset of like financial services is really great if you can go.
Yeah, I agree. I think going to Fast Track and not necessarily for a specific area in financial services, it just gives you the opportunity to make connections with so many different company representatives within New York City, and then meeting other MBA students that have the same interests, possibly in finance. Look at it this way. It's the ability for you to dip your toes into financial services as a starting point, or maybe you already have that as a background and you'd like to take that further. I think this is like a must do for anyone who has an interest in finance or who is definitely interested in going the finance track. I believe it's still one of the top 3 concentrations that students go into when they graduate from their MBA program. So if you have an interest, go.
Yeah, just to add on top, I see that Libby just shared that it's like a focus on investment banking and boutique and traditional firms, as well as investment management and private wealth. So yes, like those are most of the panelists, but like Wendy said, if you're interested in finance at all, and I will say I have a lot of friends in management consulting or consulting at the Big Four, you're gonna be doing finance in those roles, like capital investing, different type of projects, like finding out when you're going to break even, like that is things that you're also going to be doing in consulting, corporate finance, corporate development. If you do corporate development at a Disney, at a Netflix, at an Amazon, they do so much M&A. Even consumer brands do a lot of M&A, like PepsiCo and Estee Lauder. That's just research you'd want to understand. Also, just having making those connections is really great. I'd also like to point out a lot of the speakers and any investment professionals you meet say they are doing investment banking. They probably previously did private wealth or investment management or want to do investment management in the future. And MBAs seem like a really big community, but we're not. Like, we're pretty small. And not gonna lie, we talk. Like, so being polished, meeting people, and like understanding the skill sets that will be needed for when you recruit in your fall or even over the summer for early recruiting, like I highly recommend it. Because
Yeah.
they will tell you like these are the types of suits you should, and obviously investment banking is much stricter than consulting and corporate finance even, but like the tried and true like behaviors that you need to demonstrate as an MBA candidate for recruiting will go across the board for any
Right.
recruiting track.
I think to your point too, there's a lot of opportunity to get into the depths of the different functional areas at the Women's Leadership Conference as well. Companies will be there and company reps will be representing, of course, their companies. And don't forget, there is a career fair. One thing I wanted to also mention is that the program, the agenda for the conference can be found on the Women's Leadership Conference registration page. And a promo code. Well, a lot of our MBA school partners are paying for their women to attend, women and allies to attend. So be sure that you ask your admissions officer. Whoever gave you that admit to your school, email them, call them up, do whatever, and ask them if they are sponsoring their students to attend the conference, because a lot of schools are doing that. So there is no promo code. The promo code is you asking your school if they can sponsor you. Other questions? I don't think I see any more. Hannah?
I'd like to add,
Yes.
the fast track conference, even if you're not specifically interested in financial services, I do recommend attending because of what Wendy and Toni just shared about like doing career discovery and figuring out what you want to do sooner rather than later. It's equally important to figure out what you don't want to do, whether that's a industry, a function of like what type of job you want, or the type of place you want to work at. And then something that I heard from both the Fast Track Conference and the Leadership Conference, and I hear continuously throughout my like coffee chats is, and you'll hear it 100 times, so hopefully I'm the first. You have a class bucket, a recruiting bucket, and a social bucket. You have 3 buckets throughout your MBA, and any given day, week, month, semester, you can only pick 2 at any given time. So either you focus on classes and recruiting and your like social bucket is not getting attention, or you focus on recruiting and social, like whatever it may be. Like at any given time, you can only pick 2. Most of the time people pick recruiting and then it depends which the other one is. But it's advice like that I received at both conferences that I continue to share now.
Yeah, the last thing that I will say before we wrap up is all of our programs will produce a sense of community for you. I do want you to consider MBA Takeoff. That's starting actually tomorrow, but it is a great way to get started into all the 3 things that we just talked about. Come join us because it's going to be informative, it's going to be fun, and you will be able to meet so many people before you start your MBA program. I am going to wrap up for today, but again, if we can show that page again, this is how you can connect with Forté, but also here's all the QR codes for our programs. Take a screenshot, check them out, and let us know if we can do anything else for you. I hope we do see you at our upcoming programs and conferences, and good luck on your MBA journey. Thank you.